Relativity applies to physics, not ethics. In the realm of physics, Albert Einstein revolutionized science with his theory of relativity, which showed that time, space, and even mass are not absolute. They depend on the observer's speed and perspective. What seems fast to one person might seem slow to another, depending on where and how they're observing the event. But while this flexibility works in the world of atoms and light beams, it begins to crumble when applied to the domain of human ethics. Morality cannot, and should not, bend depending on the observer's convenience or situation. That's the core idea behind the quote. Relativity applies to physics, not ethics. Let's dive into real human stories and examples that breathe life into this idea. 1. The office theft. It was just a pen. Meet Grace, a young intern at a corporate law firm. One day, she sees her colleague Sam casually slipping office pens and notepads into his bag. Curious, she asks him why he's taking them home. "Oh, it's just a pen," he shrugs. "The company can afford 1 million of them. It's no big deal." But is it? From Sam's perspective, it's harmless. From the company's perspective, it's theft. From an ethical perspective, the object's value doesn't matter, the action does. If stealing is wrong, it's wrong whether you're stealing a Ferrari or a pencil. This is the first problem with applying relativity to ethics. It gives people a slippery slope to justify anything. If small theft is okay, where do we draw the line? 2. The biased referee. I had to help my town win. In a small rural town in Nigeria, a local football match between two rival schools turned chaotic. The referee, who lived in one of the towns, made clearly biased calls. After the match, when asked, he explained, "I had to help my town win. They would have been ashamed if we lost. It's just a school match." To him, loyalty was more important than fairness. But to the losing team and audience, it was injustice. Ethics demands impartiality. When we start adjusting moral standards based on who benefits, we create chaos. A referee's job is to be objective. Once you say, "It depends," ethics begins to break. The exam cheater. Everyone was doing it. Kevin, a college student in South Africa, was caught cheating during a final exam. When confronted, he replied, "The paper was too hard, and everyone was copying answers. I didn't want to be the only one left behind." This is another form of ethical relativism, justifying wrong based on social context. Kevin thought that if everyone was cheating, then it wasn't really cheating. But ethics isn't a popularity contest. A wrong action doesn't become right because many people are doing it. Truth is not voted on, and morality isn't a democracy. 4. The lying politician. It's politics. A governor in Kenya promised during campaigns that he would build schools and provide free medical care. After being elected, he delivered almost none of those promises. When a journalist questioned him, he laughed and said, "Come on, it's politics. Everybody lies to win votes." Here, lying is treated as normal, even strategic. But does that make it ethical? If we allowed ethics to shift based on profession or environment, then nothing would ever be universally right or wrong. A lie would be okay in politics, abuse would be acceptable in the military, and bribery could be justified in business. That world would be morally lawless. 5. The bribing parent. I did it for my son. Fatima, a devoted mother in Nairobi, bribed a school principal to get her son admitted into a prestigious school. She believed she was doing the right thing. "My child deserves the best. I can't let him suffer because the system is corrupt." Her concern is understandable, but once again, the intention does not override the act. If everyone bribed, the system collapses. Ethical principles are not about personal intentions. They're about collective fairness. You can't use relativity to decide whether bribery is wrong only sometimes. Explanation: why ethics must be absolute. Let's now step back for a more analytical view. Physics deals with the physical world: mass, light, speed, gravity. In Einstein's theory, time and space are relative to the observer. Two people moving at different speeds might experience time differently. This makes sense in the material world because we are measuring external, observable phenomena. But ethics deals with right and wrong, justice and injustice, concepts that are meant to provide consistency in human behavior. Morality is like a compass. If the compass points north only when it's convenient, then it's not a compass, it's a toy. Ethical relativism is the belief that moral right and wrong depends on culture, circumstances, or personal opinion. While it may sound tolerant and flexible, it becomes dangerous when used to excuse cruelty, dishonesty, or exploitation. If we say that slavery was okay in the 1800s because it was normal then, we are justifying oppression based on context. If we say a dictator was right to kill protesters because it was legal in his country, we are replacing ethics with legality, which are not the same. Ethics must have universal principles. Stealing is wrong, whether it's from a rich company or a poor man. Lying is wrong, whether it's in politics, love, or business. Murder is wrong, whether the victim is rich or poor, known or unknown. These principles give us a moral foundation that can be applied across time and space, unlike relativity in physics. The social media scandal. I was just being real. Linda, a social media influencer, posted a video making fun of a disabled man. When she faced backlash, she responded, "People are too sensitive these days. I was just being real." This is a modern example of ethical relativism, claiming that authenticity justifies cruelty. But being real doesn't mean being rude or disrespectful. Just as Einstein's relativity doesn't mean anything goes, in physics, our freedom of expression does not mean freedom from ethical responsibility. 7. The child's excuse. My brother did it too. Sometimes, we don't need adults to see ethical relativism. Watch children. When caught taking extra candy, a little girl may say, "But my brother took too." Even at that age, she's appealing to context to excuse a wrong action. This shows how natural and instinctive relativism is, and why we must be taught otherwise. The job of education, religion, and society is to train people to rise above circumstantial excuses. The danger of ethical relativity. Ethical relativity may feel convenient, but it erodes trust, accountability, and justice. If what's right today becomes wrong tomorrow, or depends on who's involved, we lose all moral direction. Society begins to rot, not from violence or war, but from a quiet decay of principles. Imagine if judges decided cases based on how they felt that day. Or if teachers gave grades based on popularity. Or if police arrested only those they disliked. That is the world ethical relativity would create. Final thoughts. North must stay north. Imagine a pilot flying a plane. If their compass suddenly points south instead of north, lives are at risk. Now imagine if every pilot had a different definition of north. Planes would crash. Ethics is humanity's compass. It must remain steady, even when our emotions, cultures, or desires try to tilt it. Relativity may govern the stars and planets, but down here on Earth, where hearts are broken, trust is betrayed, and justice is demanded, we need ethics to be absolute. Because if everything becomes relative, then nothing is truly right, and nothing is truly wrong.